Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I thought I would talk a little bit about hand creams that I have found useful over the past year or so. I think I promised this video quite a while ago and forgot about it, and keep remembering that I ought to do it whenever I get the tube of hand cream out, but haven't got round to it for one reason or another. And I was thinking this morning, we are now, thankfully, certainly in the UK, getting towards the end of this strange period of time. I don't think COVID is over yet, but I think the strict periods of lockdown and the sorts of precautions that we've got used to taking are finally probably coming to an end. And one of those has been the endless hand washing, which, coupled with a few other factors, certainly meant my hands got into a horrible mess by a couple of months ago. I think the extra hand washing with harsher antibacterial, antiseptic soaps, which certainly I was doing every time I came back in or had been to the bin or whatever, added to the fact my dishwasher, too much information here really, but it broke down pretty much near the beginning of the second period of lockdown, and I wasn't able to get an engineer out to fix it. So suddenly doing a lot of dishwashing as well. And I can only think that was the reason that my hands just got into a horrible mess, particularly the backs of my hands. I mean, you can see plenty of age spots, which are going to be there forever, but I was getting kind of little bumps as well as very dry skin. And although I do use hand cream fairly regularly, not after every hand wash or whatever, I just wasn't really making any impression. So I was making a conscious effort to use the various hand creams that I've got. And I've got a selection here. They're all kind of what I would term cosmetic hand creams, apart from one. So I have used in the past more kind of medically based hand creams. I did used to suffer a lot worse than I do now from eczema, and it wasn't actually eczema that I was getting on my hands during lockdown. I know because of having suffered from it in the past. So I didn't revert to the medical stuff. To be honest, at the beginning of lockdown, I was caught up with my Chanel hand creams, and the first one I had was the basic hand cream, which, to be honest, this is my first one. I was pretty disappointed with. I do love the kind of tactile nature of the design, but it's really difficult to squeeze product out of. You have to press really hard and then get quite a tiny little bit. And if I'm honest, I didn't really love the smell of this. It's not quite the standard Chanel cosmetic smell. It smelt a bit more kind of generic floral to me, a bit cheap, to be honest. And I didn't feel it really made that great an impression on the dry skin. So it was pretty surprising that I gave them another chance when they brought out Le Lift, which is one specifically designed to kind of firm up. And I don't know when they brought it out, but I haven't had this awfully long, probably since about Easter. Still the same problems with actually getting any product out. I definitely feel it smells, I was going to say slightly different, but sniffing them both together, I don't know. It definitely feels thicker and leaves a tackier residue on the hand than the ordinary hand cream. And I did feel when I first started using it that it was slightly better, but I'm not sure whether that's true or not, to be honest. It didn't solve the problems when they really broke out on the back of my hand. And if I'm honest, although they look good and they feel nice in your handbag, I wouldn't really recommend the Chanel hand creams. I seem to remember they did hand cream in an ordinary tube, quite a large tube, several years ago, that somebody gave me once for Christmas, and I really enjoyed that. I kind of wish they'd go back to that, but they never go back to what you want. There are two hand creams lurking at the back of the screen there, which I've had for quite a while. If I'm honest, I bought the Paul and Joe one for the pretty cat. I have nearly finished this now. Well, I've had it a couple of years, to be honest. When I bought it, there was an additional benefit in that it's very orange fragrance, really nice fragrance. I like citrus fragrances. You rarely get them in hand creams, actually. So it was a very refreshing one to have on your hands. Didn't really do the trick. And another nice fragranced one, and I am fond of a nice fragranced one, was Tocca. This is Cleopatra, but there are about 2 or 3 other ones. This is supposedly grapefruit and cucumber, although I have to say, it doesn't really smell to me like either of those, but it's a very pleasant smell. Nice thick cream. Feels comforting on the hand. Actually, I haven't used this one for a while. I might give it another go. One thing that is a problem with all of these, you can see that's quite sticky on the hand. No SPF. So none of them really helping with preventing the old age spots if you're wearing them in the day. I do wish some of the cosmetic brands would come out with an SPF hand cream. I don't see why they shouldn't, to be honest. I know you could use ordinary SPF on your hands, but an ordinary SPF is seldom moisturising enough. It is in fact a bit drying. Maybe that's why they don't put it in hand creams, but some of the kind of drugstore ones do have an SPF. So that would be my great suggestion. Just going back, a bit of a novelty one here from the Korean brand. What is the brand? This is called Panda's Dream, but that's not the brand. That's what the thing is called. And it's called White Hand Cream. Can't read the writing, I'm afraid. I bought it because of the cute pot, and it was quite cheap. It's quite a nice hand cream, but you can see I haven't made a huge impression of it. Have it on my desk and forget to open it. Smells rather nice. I don't like pots, that's the problem. Well, I like the pot to look at, but I don't feel it's terribly hygienic to be dipping your finger in all the time, which is probably why I use it less. And it's also a bit bulky to stick in the handbag when you go out. This one here is from Rituals, and this is a specific one to help you sleep at night. So it's kind of dual action. Night Rescue Hand Mask. So it's supposed to be good for your hands, but definite smell of lavender there. Nice treatment. But again, the one that finally solved my problem after leading you along for nearly 9 minutes is this baby, which I read about in an article. It's actually quite cheap. It's called Nursum Caring Hand Cream, developed with nurses to help combat the effects of relentless hand washing. And I read about it in an article. The company is called nursum.co.uk. You can get it at Boots. I think that was where I got mine. There was a special offer on, 2 for the price of 1. I can't remember what I paid for it, but I'm thinking about £12 for 2. Pretty cheap. And it worked for me. Why? I don't know. But their research obviously worked. It doesn't feel that different from the others. It's quite liquidy, but it definitely leaves quite a strong residue, and it definitely cleared up my dry patches, and more to the point, those funny little bumps that were underneath the skin in about 10 days or so of relatively regular use. I do forget to put it on half the time. So the only thing that might bother some people is very, very strong fragrance, which is slightly surprising for something that was developed with nurses, although, to be fair, it's not for medical grade use or anything like that, according to what they say. And some people might find that off-putting. It's a very strong floral scent. I find it quite pleasant, so it doesn't bother me, but I know fragrances bother some people, and it's a bit counterintuitive to be using something that's heavily fragranced on an outbreak of dry or chapped skin, because fragrance does tend to irritate most people to some extent or another, depending on how sensitive you are. So I will say that the problems with my skin were kind of dry irritation. There wasn't any open chapping or scabbing or eczema or anything like that, and I wouldn't have used any of these, all of which are fragranced. On eczema, for example, I'd have used something more medically based. But if you are looking for a reasonably priced, heavy duty hand cream that really works if you are still hand washing a lot, and I think hopefully all of us are going to maintain good hand washing practice after this pandemic is over, then I do recommend Nursum. As I say, the fragrance is the only contra for some people, I would have thought. So I hadn't heard of it before, and I don't know if you have. So there we go. That's my little selection of hand creams that I'm now going to put away, try and remember to keep on using so the problem doesn't arise again. And until next time, bye for now.